Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Designing Adobe Xd. I'm going to be your host today. I'm Hilary Nemer, one of the senior UX designers on Xd. So today we're going to talk a little bit about portfolios, and then we're going to get into a few portfolio reviews. So let's see. Is the chat up? The chat. Sorry guys, just a second.
It was. I don't know what happened.
All right, well, while we're getting that set up, I'll just jump into talking a little bit about portfolios.
Here, I'll just screen and then we can.
Cool, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the why, what, and how to create a portfolio. So jumping in, so why does someone create a portfolio? So I think a portfolio is a really good way to be able to kind of express yourself creatively, show who you are, and kind of stick out from that normal resume that people are sending out. It's a place where you can kind of define yourself, what you can do, and what makes you special. So those are a lot of the things that you're going to want to think about while you're planning your portfolio. So when creating a portfolio, you typically don't want to add like all of the work that you've done. You kind of just want to focus it on some of your favorite projects or projects that kind of represent the things that you want the reader to know about you. So if you're more of an interaction designer, really showcasing those skills. If you focus a lot on research, or if you're a generalist, kind of making sure you include all of the aspects of who you want that reader to see that you are. And then obviously a little bit maybe more about yourself that you want the reader to know, and then contact information. So make sure that the reader can always figure out how to get a hold of you, if they're interested in working with you. And a lot of people like to include other links to maybe social media, or a place where they can learn a little bit more about you.
Sorry, still figuring it out. For some reason, the chat has disappeared. We're live, though.
Yeah, so that's sorry about that, guys. The chat isn't showing up, so if anyone is kind of posting in there and asking questions at the moment, I can't see them. But when that's back up, we'll make sure to dive into some of those questions. Okay, so how can I create a portfolio? So there's obviously a bunch of different ways to create a portfolio. There's kind of the more popular like online platforms such as Behance. This is a really great place where you kind of have a design community. You can post your work, you can get feedback. You're connected to like-minded people. It's a really great place to search for like talent. So it kind of buckets all those things and is a really convenient place and to kind of portray all your work. You could make a presentation. So a lot of times people will have a portfolio they can send out with their resume, or that they present in person for interviews. And that may be something that they do in like a PowerPoint format. I actually like to do it in Xd. It's a really great for presentations, and I think we've talked about that in the last few weeks. And then the last one is creating a website. So this is a bit more involved, a little, harder to maintain and may cost some money, but it's a really great place where you can have full flexibility and kind of set up exactly how you want it to look and feel on your own. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about kind of setting up a project in your portfolio. So I kind of like to get started with even just starting like a Google Doc or a Word doc, or even writing it down on paper, and just starting to, when I pick a project, just say like, okay, who's my audience? what is kind of the style I want to go for, who was involved in the project, what's the theme, any major milestones, conflicts and resolutions. So just kind of getting stuff out on paper so I can just sort of start to formulate a cohesive story. And then the next step would be to really focus on what that story is. And these are some kind of common buckets that I just put down here, and I think people like to kind of show it in different ways. But the first one being discover. So what are some of those assumptions, interviews, research, any kind of setting the stage work that you've done to set up the project? And then the second section would be define. So defining the problem, who are the users and all of that. And then kind of talk about the process that you went through. So that would be the ideate section where you can kind of go through some of your designs, some of the failures, some of the really successful moments you've had. And then kind of wrapping it up and like, what did you learn from this? What worked, what didn't work, and what would you do next? So that's kind of the story arc that I think works really well. But of course, you kind of want to tailor it to the story. So if a part doesn't really fit in, then, it's okay to kind of skip over that part. The last thing are just some like general tips for setting up your projects. So you really want to balance content and design. So oftentimes you'll want to have some supporting copy to your designs, and there's a balance between how much content is digestible. You have to remember that when people are coming in to review your portfolio, they have so few time. And then there's also kind of two kinds of portfolios. You have the one that like you're sending out for people just to kind of get an idea of who you are as a designer, and then you have maybe more of a presentation-like portfolio. When you're in person with people, you can walk them through it. That would be the place I would maybe elaborate a lot more for on the context of your designs. And then, of course, don't be afraid of expressing failure. A lot of people like to kind of see like when you stumble upon some issues, how you work through those things. Showing work in progress and final designs. A tip that I find very valuable is to have peers review your portfolio. So once you kind of have a story that you think really makes sense, I like to give it to people and have them go through it, and one, just validate, does this make sense to you, of someone who has no context? And two, like, what were the really important things and to them, and what really helped and what didn't? This can kind of help you validate your story and remove some of the extra parts that maybe weren't that helpful. It's super hard to look at your own work with a critical eye. So, and you're super involved in the story and the process. So there may be parts that you want to tell that isn't really adding to it, and someone else can help you figure that out. And then the last thing is, although it's not the full everything that matters, but presentation definitely matters. So do work on that visuals and how you set it up. So we're still working on trying to get that chat up. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump into the portfolio reviews. And again, sorry guys that I'm not seeing your comments. All right, so we gathered 3 portfolios. So I'm gonna try and go through a few of each of them, a few projects on each of them. So I'm gonna just go full screen here. Okay, so Pooja Sharma, looks like you are a student at the National Institute of Fashion and Technology in India. It's awesome. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for giving up your portfolio to review. I'm gonna go ahead and click into the first project. Okay, so my first impressions, I can just see this logo and that this is gonna be a UX case study. it would be nice when I just jump in here to see a little bit more. Not sure just from the logo what exactly this is going to be about. So maybe including like one screen that gives like the app home screen or something would give me an idea of what this app is going to be about when I jump into it. You kind of want to set that stage for the user immediately. So here, as I scroll down, I can start to read a little bit more about it, but it would also be nice to have some visuals to support the content here. So Need Doc is an app where you can book a doctor's appointment hassle-free. Awesome. So choose your issue, get the best results about who to consult. So it looks like our, I think kind of the first two sentences is kind of a good summary. So maybe even just like making that a bit bigger and bolder. So when I jump into here, I can see, okay, this is a doctor app, and then maybe some bullet points about what you could do in that app, just so I have that concept and I can see it very quickly when I first load into the page. The target audience is people 18 to 60. Design strategy. I love that you're telling me your strategy up front so I can kind of get an idea of the storyline. So we've got kind of a KPI that we want to match, and then more about the audience, some general tasks that we want the user to be able to achieve. All of this is really good information. We have a design process here, which correlates really well with kind of the slide that I went over for what to include in your portfolio. So discover, define, ideate, and design. It's pretty similar to what I had up there. So that's nice to see. That's kind of the flow we're going for. So discover. My initial reactions here is that, there's a lot of information. It really helps to kind of think, okay, what are the main takeaways that I want my reader to know, and have those really easily to ingest for me so I don't have to spend some time reading. I love the graphs. This to me also seems a little bit like something you may want to go through in more of a presentation format than in this kind of case study that you're just kind of going through. So I really like the key findings here. Like, this is exactly what I want to see. I can just get like a very clear idea of all the information that really meant something to you. So maybe even starting with this and then having the other information below it for those who want to dive into it. Okay, so the word is that the Behance chat is down, but we're going to keep going. And feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any specific questions on anything I shared, Twitter or LinkedIn. Okay, so define. So here we go a little bit more into setting up the stage, it seems, for the design explorations you've done. So we've got the persona. I think, again, here you could even pare it down some more, just really working on that critical information. And this is where peer review can be really helpful. So what's the information that I need from this user to kind of understand who I'm designing for and the solutions that I've come up with? I love seeing all the different steps here that you've taken. It's really nice. All right, let's look at this. So user scenario, storyboarding, and card sorting. So this kind of shows me some of the different steps that you've taken to ideate. And let's take a look at some of those. So again, it's a lot of tasks, and I really like getting into kind of some of these visuals here. I can see really what you've done and start to get a picture of it. We've got the user flow. So kind of just making sure you've covered all of those steps, which is really great. And some lo-fi wireframes. Now this is really nice. I really like to see people working with pen and paper. I feel like people often jump right into the digitals, so it's nice to see those drawings and those thinkings here, and it's just a really nice addition. And then some more hi-fi wireframes. So something I'd love to know is when you worked on these low fidelity wireframes, what did you learn from it that brought you into the next stage of designs? And how did you change things from that lo-fi to hi-fi step? But overall, this is a really nice case study. It's really thoughtful, and it includes a lot of great information. Let's take a look at another project. So this looks like it's the same app, and actually seeing it in this contest, this is almost exactly what I wanted in the first project, where I can see the app, maybe something like a doctor illustration or something like that would even add a little bit more context and a blurb about the app. But this is great. This would be kind of like maybe I would want to open with this and then kind of dive into the more story, low fidelity part of the story. Here the colors are really nice. The visuals feel really clean. I love the overview of the onboarding screens here. It tells me exactly what to expect from the app. I can book a doctor, chat with someone, book some tests and other medicines. So get medicines delivered to your doorstep. The illustrations support the tasks really nicely, and it looks really nice. Main screen. So this is the part about booking a doctor's appointment or chat with them on the go. I love that I can do whichever one suits my needs at the time. It feels like a really clean and easy to approach for a kind of more medical app. It's very approachable. I like that. And here I can book some lab tests or other medicine. So it's really going kind of task by task here. That's really nice to see some of these more high fidelity screens as well. And sign up flows. This is also really nice. I like how, the person can come in and kind of see, okay, here's some potential things that I need help with and pick from that list. It makes it really approachable as well. And your doctor's details. This is always really nice to have a face, like especially in these digital interactions for doctors, to get a better idea of who you're talking to and their information and all of that. And booking an appointment. This is also really nice. I kind of like the way you've broken up the appointment times between morning, afternoon, and evening. Because right away I look at this and I say, like, okay, I know what's best for me and my schedule, and this is what's available. That's really nice. And your profile, which is a nice overview of all of the stuff, all of your appointments, your reports. This is something I feel like is kind of lacking in some of the apps we see today, or just generally in the in-person doctor patient relationship. It's nice that the patient has access to all of this stuff as well for any needs that they have with that. Really nice. see. All right. For the sake of time, I'm going to jump into the next one, but thank you so much for sharing, Pooja. The visuals are beautiful in that story. Okay, so Angelo joining us from Italy. How cool. Okay, so just from jumping in, it looks like you've chosen a good amount of work in here. And I'm just going to jump into the first project. So I can see here you've focused on a prototype, so showing me some animation, which is really cool. And it looks like it was made with Adobe Xd. It's awesome. It's cool to see all the different things you can do with it. There's not much other information on this, so maybe even just like a little blurb about what this app was and what it does would help. But here, what I think you're telling me is, I enjoy interaction design and animation, and here is some of what I can do. So that's a great start. The second one, similar, showing some animation. So I think it's really clean. The visual design's really nice. I love the customization that you can do here with this. This is a really fun app, and I love the animation in it. But again, maybe adding a little bit more context to what this project was. Was it a personal project? Was it for this company? Would definitely help give a little bit more context for the reader. But overall, the animation feels really great, and the visuals are super nice. Let's maybe dive into another one. So it looks like we've got a landing page here. So, okay, so looks like we're looking at a creative agency. Oh, I think there was a landing page. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, so we have a creative agency here. One thing that might help, instead of putting some lorem ipsum in, is actually maybe giving a little bit more context in here, so I know as I scroll down what I'm going to see. But I know the need for some placeholder text. Cool. So here it looks like I've got an explanation of what the agency does, what you can expect from them, and I think the colors are really nice. Everything is on a very legible background, so I like that you have this really dark background, so I can focus on the text that you have here to the right. So it looks like branding, we have content creation, and data analysis. The only thing I'd say as I scroll down here is you have a lot of gradients on gradients. We have gradients in the background and in here and in the icons. So maybe simplifying it a little bit would kind of help to focus on the information that's to the left here. So facts. We've got an understanding of YouTube followers, which tells me kind of the company's credibility. Same with Twitch and social media. And then I assume these are placeholders for some videos of the work that they've done, which is a really nice touch, and I think people like to click on those videos and watch them. But it might also be nice to include some information that someone could just scanning it could also get on kind of the work that you've done. And then a place to get in touch. This is great. Really solid, clean landing page, gives you an idea of what the company does and their credibility, and then it looks like you can dive in deeper and find out more about them, which is nice. All right. We've got only about 1 more minute left. I'm sorry, Justin. I'm going to try and just jump into a few projects and just tell you I did get a chance to quickly look at this before we got on air, and the visuals are super nice. Keep going. Okay, sorry guys, we're out of time, and we'll definitely see you again soon. Thanks. Cool.